Hey, this is a review of Shoe Dog, a memoir by the creator of Nike by Phil Knight. Awesome story of Nike, the one of the biggest shoe companies in the world. Nike meaning the Greek goddess of victory. Not much was known about Nike. However, with Phil Knight, the creator and CEO of the company, he confesses everything in this book, how Nike got to where it is now. What set off the flame is his trip out to Asia, and he took a trip around the world with his friend. And Phil Knight's from Oregon, so he was going out to Asia. Whenever you travel, you learn a lot about cultures, and you do change if you just go deep and you're open and willing to learn. Even though he had another person with him named Carter, I do recommend that you travel alone, especially in the beginning. This way you learn the independence. However, he was just jumping into a mystery of what was going to happen. He backpacked, he was an explorer, he was curious, and he acquired all this Asian wisdom, which he does confess in the book, at least a portion of it. And it's almost pure freedom that you experience when you do this. Eventually, I'll have my Go Galt book, which will help you out too as well. You change after this. For helping out entrepreneurs, he reveals all the trials he had to go through. One of the big hurdles he had, which was a recurring issue, was money. And nowadays you have free money, you have easier access to credit, as well as venture capital. That he always had problems with the money, that he had to borrow money, borrow from banks, switching banks, didn't have enough money to deliver to the customer since he was importing these shoes from Japan to sell out to the West Coast in America. He had to travel to make this happen. He had issues, especially in the beginning, because he had the Blue Ribbon Company, which he was not the actual inventor of the shoe. He was just selling the shoes Tiger from Japan. He didn't really run the business. He was more like a middleman. And until the Japanese firm, they were having issues selling and buying and selling it and trading, that's when Nike was created. And it takes risk. He struggled with getting athletes to wear the shoes, and that is like a simple hack is you get the athlete to wear the shoes, just like the Beats, where you had the Beats headphones, where they were giving away the headphones to Olympic athletes, and that's like free marketing, cheap marketing too as well. And for sales, this was very interesting, is that if you want to know everything, he was selling encyclopedias of knowledge, and people don't really care about knowing something. Most people are interested in entertainment, that it's always hard to sell. There's a tactic to it. He also struggled to go independent with this company. He was working at an accounting firm, and he stayed with that accounting firm until he was really successful with selling shoes. He waited too long. Another concept I want to talk about is shoes and status. And in the States, you always had people that had the newest shoes, or they still want it. They want the best shoes. All you need is the name of the athlete, as well as to have knockoffs that they're pretty much the same thing. It's just the spirit of the shoe. For instance, are the Jordans really worth $200 a shoe? Is the Big Baller shoes really worth $300, $400? It's just a name that sells. Also, there was shoes that were bad. For instance, if you buy these knockoffs, a lot of times they're done cheaply, such as the type of shoes you get in China and Thailand. We always want a quality product, but we don't want to spend exorbitant amounts of money. However, people do spend this money for the status. Here are the things I've learned is don't read trash. The jogging book set them on fire, so there's a lot of ways to market your product. There is cross-pollination. It is important to have an eclectic group of members working for your team, different skills, being able to delegate. That is something that I need to learn, is how to delegate, just pay people to do it. Also, taking risks is really just to bootstrap it and take the risk, go full throttle. There were trials of being betrayed, bad money management, competition. They had to deal with other shoes such as Adidas and Puma, as well as not being the creator, where you are the middleman versus, say, creating. On being dependent on order to sell, as well as taxes, US taxes. For me, this had a personal touch for me, is that I had the shoes, the Bo Jacksons, and I swear my parents paid maybe $60, $70, $80 for these shoes. But I love these shoes. They're about maybe 2 or 3 years after the first Jordan. They had the concept Bo knows. So these bring back memories to Nike. I wore all kinds of other different types of shoes. And it's kind of like having a bed. You have to have something comfortable. It's worth paying the extra price. Also, he mentions a lot of Asian teachings such as Musashi with the Book of Five Rings. Plenty of funny little antics in this book, especially with the factory in Mexico named Canada, which would have confused the hell out of me. And it was just really hilarious. This is an awesome book just because of the story.